import-export supply chains continue to face major challenges. We're a small island nation. We're a small market, only 26 million people. We're an end destination port as a country on the minor north-south trade routes. We're a long way away from the major east-west trade routes in terms of shipping and aviation, and we're a very small market. Because we're an island nation, our import and export chains are dramatically impacted by global shipping delays, blockages, changes in the scheduling of ships, and similarly with air freight, major changes with the way in which airlines will or will not take air freight. And we have this very serious problem that every import, every export to our country requires either a ship or a plane. We're an island nation.
We have to acknowledge that Australia, we actually very much trade dependent, and according to the ABS, 21% of import and 22% of export are actually contributing to our national GDP. And with the ongoing supply chain issue, we still have a lot of problems in the country in terms of export and import. According to a recent business sentiment survey by the ABS, about 41% of surveyed businesses, they are still experiencing some supply chain disruption issue, and about 31% of them, they are finding some difficulties in finding a suitable candidate for their job. And also 46% of the surveyed business, they found that, you know, the upcoming difficulty in increasing their expenses.
The term resilience has two meanings. One is bounce back to its previous shape. Like if you squish a pillow and you release the pressure, it goes back to its original shape. We are not going back to our original shape. We have decarbonisation, we have so many fuel issues, we have so many pressures. We are not bouncing back. The second definition of resilience is recovering quickly. We are not recovering quickly. So my take on this question is that our resilience is not there in terms of Australia's import and export and domestic supply chains. We have so many issues we're dealing with, climate change issues, disasters, there's so many pressures. Now those pressures are impacting our dealings and our trade with Southeast Asia and in everything we do. But of course, across all of Southeast Asia, the same countries, the same people, we're all suffering in the same way. When crews are unwell because of the pandemic, then that part of the business stops. That part of the supply chain stops. So we're human beings being impacted by a pandemic, and we have the same sorts of pressures of blockages and delays because we rely on global supply chains, no matter what part of the world we reside.
I think over the last 2 years, Australian businesses have been quite resilient from my perspective, because a lot of Australian businesses have tried to diversify their business strategy, their business model by, going to other sourcing country apart from their traditional sourcing market. And among those, South Asian countries have been emerging as a very good candidate for diversification strategy of Australian businesses.
I think we need to look at supply chains with new, fresh eyes. In Australia, we need to have far greater maturity about what we need to do now. We've learned so much from the pandemic. I don't believe resilience is the right term for any of this, but what we need to look at is strong new futures. There's nothing called business as usual in supply chain now. So we need to look at how we can make things streamlined, efficient, safe, sustainable. These are massive challenges that Australia needs to get really serious about. Our companies are, but what we need to do is to make sure as a nation we are doing this.
I think although some of the people mentioned that resilience is not there yet in Australia, however, moving forward, in order to build up the resilient capability, I think Australian businesses need to focus on three interrelated capabilities: prediction, response, and recovery. So in terms of prediction, it is very critical for Australian business to map their supply chain and to map out, where are the suppliers, where are the supplier, where are the customer, where the customer. And by building up their digital capability, it will facilitate their prediction capability very well. The second capability that needs to be built up is response. And response needs to be reflected not only in the procurement, but also in terms of manufacturing operation, as well as last mile delivery in terms of transportation and logistics. And so building up the digital capability, especially in the context of Industry 4.0, will help the Australian business to build up their capability of prediction, response, and recovery.
It's critical that our country sees itself as a nation. We need to make sure we have harmonised standards across all jurisdictions. We shouldn't be stopping at the border as if New South Wales is a different country to Queensland or Victoria. We need to make sure we have streamlined supply chain operations. So the harmonisation of standards is absolutely critical nationally. We need to make sure that we have safety built into that so our people are safe and well. And we need to make sure that we're really serious about our workforce, skills issues, and the need for really good thinking people who understand operations, technology, data science, and can make our supply chain strong, sustainable, safe and efficient.
So far, the Australian federal and state governments have been doing a fantastic job by establishing the Office of Supply Chain Resilience, by initiating the Supply Chain Resilience Initiative at the national level as well as international level, where they have a collaboration in supply chain between Australia, India and Japan. However, moving forward, I would like to see more work from the governments in building up the infrastructure for supply chain resilience, especially focusing on maritime logistics and supply chain, given Australia being an island nation, as well as enhancing the software manpower in terms of manpower development for logistics and supply chain workforce.
First thing is we need to realise it is not about a truck driver. Supply chains involve hundreds of different complex roles across different complex types of businesses. Supply chains are all about interdependencies from end-to-end systems. So we have so many needs of people who are graduates, who are postgraduates, who are data scientists, who are technology people. We have so many needs. So we need to understand supply chains with a mature understanding of complex systems, highly interdependent systems. And that means we need a skilled workforce in so many different ways. And that maturity is what we need in our workforce development.
A tri-party approach should be taken, which include not only the government, but also the employer, as well as the training institution. I think the government would need to play a major role in providing the incentive to encourage young people to join the industry, as well as from the employer perspective, they would need to take more active role in participating in school advisory committee of the institution. From the institution perspective, they would need to design more industry-led training programs to cater for the need of the industry.